The former public library director in Gillette was interviewed on CNN about why she was fired. The mayor of Cody blocks a building permit for a proposed Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints temple project. And have we ever seen it so green in August? Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily. Former Campbell County Public Library Director Terry Leslie said despite concerns by many parents in Gillette, children could never access pornography at the library. And she said it on national television. CNN on Thursday televised an interview with the former Campbell County Public Library Director, who was fired July 28th after a spat over which books are obscene for children. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland said Leslie appeared in a brief video segment.
Leslie said that there's no pornographic material available in the library, though there are sex ed materials. And that is the key point of distinction between those who oppose some of these books and those who support them. And it's a fine point that Gillette can't seem to make its mind up about.
Leslie told CNN's Phil Mattingly that some books contain LGBTQ themes, and she felt like that was the real issue. Governor Mark Gordon and other Wyoming elected officials are blasting a draft BLM land management plan to limit uses on 1.8 million acres near Rock Springs for environmental protection. However, Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines reports that there's general consensus that it's a good idea to preserve about 15% of it in the greater Little Mountain area.
The Rock Springs field office for the BLM in Wyoming, that's a huge chunk of property. That's millions and millions of acres, pretty much right there in that whole big central chunk of Wyoming. And Governor Mark Gordon says it leans too heavily towards hands-off conservation, not enough opportunity for energy development.
But not everyone agrees. Wyoming mule deer conservationist Josh Coursey told Cowboy State Daily that setting that area aside acknowledges just how sensitive that landscape is. The New York Times reported this week that the United States is, quote, rapidly shifting away from fossil fuels, end quote. From such statements, a reader might think that the share of electricity from fossil fuels has at least halved in the past few decades. However, at the current pace, the U.S. will eliminate fossil fuels in 170 years. According to data from the Energy Institute's Statistical Review of World Energy, the amount of electricity generation from fossil fuels fell from nearly 73% in 1985 to just under 60% in 2022. This means the transition away from fossil fuels is happening at a rate of 0.35% per year, so it will take, at the current pace, more than 170 years to reach 0%. American Coal Council CEO Timothy Arthun, who lives in Gillette, told Cowboy State Daily that nations around the world are embracing coal, including South Africa, India, and China. I'll be back with more news right after this.
At Hilltop Bank, we understand that buying a home is a big decision. That's why we're here to be your trusted partner on the path to home ownership. Our experienced mortgage team will guide you every step of the way, from pre-approval to closing. We offer competitive rates and a wide variety of home loan options to best suit your needs. With our local knowledge and personalized service, you'll feel confident and comfortable throughout the entire home buying process. Contact us today to start your journey toward home ownership. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
In an unusual move, Cody Mayor Matt Hall has blocked a building permit for a proposed Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints temple that was approved last week, a permit that includes a controversial 77-foot steeple that would be part of the building. Hall told Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson that there's significant ambiguity about what exactly the Planning and Zoning Board passed, specifically on the topic of the temple's height, that he wanted to, quote, pump the brakes a little.
Mayor Hall stressed to me that this is really more of a temporary move and that City Council is really just looking at their options and trying to get an analysis of the situation.
The board never came to a final determination of the issue of height, which some on P&Z saw as giving it a green light, while others say it was a rejection. City staff decided to allow the project to move forward because it hadn't specifically been denied. And a winter with record snow and wetter than normal spring and summer has Wyoming weather and agriculture experts marveling at how green it still is, with many saying it's unheard of. But Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi spoke with meteorologist Don Day, who had a simple explanation for the greener pastures into mid-August.
Seeing Wyoming this green, historically looking at the numbers, isn't all that uncommon, especially in the year right after you're coming out of a drought.
Rossi said there's more good news for Wyoming's agriculture. The pattern that's kept Wyoming wet this year will most likely keep it wet next year and possibly longer. And that's today's news. You can read about all of these stories and more on CowboyStateDaily.com.